When the Second World War began in 1939, Germany's Blitzkrieg struck with lightning speed. But at the tip of that spear wasn't the legendary Tiger or the Panther. It was the Panzer III, sleek, mobile, and built for a very specific purpose: to destroy enemy tanks. Developed quietly during the interwar years, the Panzer III was conceived as Germany's main battle tank before such a term officially existed. It wasn't designed to break fortifications or haul infantry. Its job was clear: hunt tanks, while lighter vehicles, like the Panzer I and II, handled scouting and support. It was a weapon born of doctrine. German military planners believed tanks should work in pairs, one to fight other tanks, one to support infantry. The Panzer III was built around this philosophy. Early models were fitted with a 37mm cannon, the same caliber as the Army's standard anti-tank gun. On paper, it made logistics easy. In practice, it wouldn't be enough. When Germany invaded Poland, only a few hundred Panzer IIIs were ready for action. Most of the armored force was made up of older, lightly armed models. But even in small numbers, the Panzer III showed its promise. Fast, radio-equipped, and with a 5-man crew that allowed for effective command and control, it proved how critical coordination was in armored warfare. And the radio, that was the real secret weapon. While other nations relied on hand signals or flags, every Panzer III had a radio, letting tank commanders adapt in real time. It allowed the Blitzkrieg to move like a single organism, fast, flexible, and overwhelming. In France, the Panzer III saw its first real test against modern Western armor. British Matilda IIs and French Char BS had thick armor the 37mm gun couldn't always penetrate. German crews were often forced to call in air support or use anti-aircraft guns like the dreaded 88mm to handle threats beyond their reach. Yet the Panzer III still outmaneuvered most opponents. Its speed and communication let it bypass strong points, cut supply lines, and win by breaking the enemy's structure rather than grinding them down head-on. But the need for a bigger gun was now undeniable. German engineers responded. The 50mm L-42 was installed in new models, and later versions featured the longer, high-velocity L-60 variant. This upgrade was a game-changer. Now, the Panzer III could go toe-to-toe with most Allied tanks, at least for a time. Armor was also improved. Bolt-on plates and spaced armor were added to protect against anti-tank rifles and shell bursts. Suspension systems were refined, reliability increased, and the vehicle matured. By Operation Barbarossa in 1941, the Panzer III was one of Germany's most important tanks. And for a brief window, it was enough. When the Wehrmacht crossed into the Soviet Union, early Panzer IIIs faced off against lighter BT series tanks and T-26. These Soviet designs were outdated and poorly coordinated. German training and doctrine carried the day. Then came the shock. Soviet T-34s and KV-1s burst onto the battlefield, well-armored, heavily armed, and often impervious to German firepower. The Panzer III's gun simply couldn't penetrate their frontal armor. Its crews began aiming for tracks, rear armor, or relying on ambush tactics. Confidence gave way to improvisation. German engineers scrambled to keep up. Some Panzer IIIs were fitted with longer guns, others with thicker armor. But they were increasingly outclassed by the changing battlefield. But still, the Panzer III soldiered on. It fought in the deserts of North Africa, in the snows of Russia, and the rocky terrain of the Balkans. In the hands of a well-trained crew, it remained effective, particularly when used in coordination with other vehicles, artillery, and aircraft. But time was running out. By 1943, newer models like the Panther and Tiger had entered service. The upgraded Panzer IV, now carrying a powerful 75mm gun, had taken over the role of tank killer. The Panzer III quietly stepped back from the spotlight. But it didn't disappear. The Panzer III chassis proved remarkably versatile. It became the foundation for the Stug III assault gun, one of the most produced armored vehicles of the war. Its platform was used for command tanks, recovery vehicles, bridging tanks, flamethrowers, and even amphibious prototypes meant for Operation Sea Lion, the planned invasion of Britain. Each variant played its role. The Panzer III had become more than a tank, it became a toolbox. Crews appreciated its straightforward mechanics, its reliability in harsh conditions, and how easy it was to repair in the field. Even in 1944 and 1945, some were still in service, fighting rearguard actions or training new crews. They were no longer feared, but they were far from useless. In the story of World War II, the Panzer III is often overshadowed by the tanks that came later. It didn't have the brute strength of a Tiger or the sloped armor of a T-34. But in the crucial early years of the war, it was the backbone of the German panzer divisions. It carried the fight through Poland, France, the Balkans, North Africa, and deep into the Soviet Union. It adapted, evolved, and survived longer than anyone expected. A machine that reflected the German war machine itself, disciplined, coordinated, and always pushing forward. The Panzer III wasn't just Germany's first true battle tank. It was the one that made Blitzkrieg real.